So what we're going to do today is we're going to learn one last thing. This is the last portion of, now, I wanted to also share with you guys, let me go here because I'm using an external monitor. One of the other things I wanted to share with you is how many of you guys finished the sum 67? Okay, so this is the way that I did it. Now I looked online and I saw the method. So this kind of tells you, this is what I'm looking for. When I'm looking for, like, individuality. Give me a second. Where's my screenshot? I put it. Give me 1 second. Untitled. Where's my screenshot? Here we go. Date modified. Give me 1 second, guys. Icons. Here we go. Is this it? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So take a look. So the sum 67. Okay. So what I did, this is the way that I did it, which is probably going to be different than you guys. So this is just the way that I think. Okay. So if you guys can see, what I did was I basically set up, what I did is I did this with a nested for loop. So how many of you guys even remotely did it this way? Raise your hand. Okay. So I looked at the answer online. Okay. But the thing with the answer online is I just felt like you opened yourself up for a little bit more errors. So what I did is, okay, as you can see, it says Boolean in range is false. I looked at that, and if you guys notice, I didn't even use it. I was like, okay, because I copied and pasted to see how it looked. And I was like, I just don't like that technique. If you notice, I didn't even use it. So basically what I did is I said for j equals 0, j is less than nums.length, j plus plus. If nums j, so what I did is if you hit nums j, you went through a for loop that cycled through starting at that number. Notice that how I made k equal to j. Okay, then nums k. So for example, as the 5th index, I'd start with nums 5. Okay, and then what I did is then I went through, and if nums k was equal to 7, that was the stopping point. Then I would just overwrite j to be k. Okay, and then I would break, and then j plus plus would just, let's say this was 7. It would make it 7. I break, then it's 8. And then it would just start from there. So that's the way that I thought. That was my thought process. And I looked online and I saw the way that somebody had it with like the Boolean sugar and stuff like that. And it was just like, just that, like for me, just this, I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with this. I know it seems like I know it seems like it's not, or like if you take a look at mine, you're actually, I just feel confident that this would work consistently more so than the one that was online. I don't know. I just feel like this one took me about 5 minutes to figure out. 4 to 5 minutes. I only had one error. I missed it. I forgot the break. But I figured when I was writing it out, I was like, okay, no, that would equal that. That would equal that. But to give you guys a heads up, when I was doing it, I wrote it down on paper first, and I cycled through my steps. Okay. Always helps, guys. It's even me as the teacher. It always helps. Okay. So that being said, let's get started on the last component that we're going to learn today. Okay. And this is the last thing that we're going to learn for this section. Okay. Now I told you guys yesterday that you guys would be learning one more loop, right? Okay. So that loop is what we call an enhanced for loop. Okay. So what I want all of you guys to do right now in a clean tester class, I'm going to give you guys 1 minute. What I'd like you guys to do right now is I'd like you guys to create an array of 10 random numbers. Create an array of integers. Create an integer array of 10 random integers. Do that right now. And yes, Uma, when all of this is over, I will take both of my AP classes and all meals will be on me. I will take us to Pizza Hut when all this pandemic is over so that we can have an end of the year review session, and then you can ask me any questions you want.
Yay.
Except for Yuban. All right. So
Wait, what?
And again, guys, I'm sorry about my anger with the speaker. I was very disappointed. I wasn't happy. Like, I was so disappointed. They wanted us to present it, which I still may put it on the gram for the school. But like, that's how pissed off I was, guys, was that like, I was almost embarrassed. I was like, this guy did nothing of what he said he was going to do. So, I guess you can use your boss as an excuse, but whatever. That's not how I roll. Hee hee. Okay, so integer array. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say int array x equals new int. Now in this case, I told you 10. So 10's fine. You can put 10 in there. Great. And I told you guys to fill it with random numbers. Okay. So for int j equals 0, j is less than 10. Okay. And j plus plus. Is 10 okay, at least for right now, since I know it's 10?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. And then I'm just going to say x index j equals, and I'm just going to cast a random number, math.rand. I didn't actually give you guys any rules for what the random should be. So I'm just going to make it 100, okay? And I don't care like if it's 0 or whatever. I'm not really worried right now. I don't care. Okay, so if I run this right now, I should be good. Let me go Windows, Show View, Console. Okay, good. So I have no errors, as you can see. I'm 100% good to go. Are we all okay with this? Okay. Now, what we're going to be learning right now is an array, or is a loop that is called a for each loop. Okay. For each loop, but it's also called an enhanced for loop. Okay. It is also called a read only loop. Okay. Now, this enhanced for loop more often than not is used for arrays and something that's called array lists. We'll get into those later. Okay. But they're mainly used for verification of arrays. Okay. And some of you guys are actually going to like this. So right now, if I wanted to print out what was in each one, okay, if I wanted to print out whatever was in each one, I'm going to put it as a print line so we can see it. Plus, okay, so I run this now, 55, 33, I get my random numbers. Okay, we're good. But let's say that I wanted you to verify these with something called an enhanced loop or a for each loop. So again, you've learned the for loop. You've learned the while loop. This is the third loop. And again, for most of it, can you use this for other things? Yes, but for the most part, it is used for arrays. Okay. So what I do is this: for int z, you can make it anything you want, :x. Now let me explain how this works. You're creating a dummy variable here. Okay, you're creating a dummy variable here. All right. This dummy variable must match the type of array that you're going to be cycling through. The second part on the other side of the colon is the array that you're going to be cycling through. Then what I do, so z by default will occupy the value of every single array. So if I say sysout, oops, stupid. Okay, print.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, all right.
If you like,
okay,
I can search the web for. Now
stop. Okay, all right. System.out.print, and then I can just say z plus space, and take a look what happens now. Okay, so I hit play. It does the same thing. Z is another way of saying Z is x index 0 to x index 9. Okay. X index 0 to x index 9. All right. So that being said, all right, Z just automatically takes over the entire value. If it is an object, it will take over the entire object. We'll get more into that later. I just wanted you to more introduce you guys to what these are. Okay. Now, again, Z is the same way as saying x index 0 to x index 9. So what's the beautiful part of this? Okay. It's quick. It's easy. It verifies. Okay. Now, what are the downsides? Okay. 1, it is a read-only loop. Now, what does that mean? Notice how we used a for loop to initialize here. You cannot use a for each loop to initialize. Okay. Let me repeat that. You cannot use a for each loop to initialize. What it will do, it'll show that it works, and it'll do it on a temporary basis. And then once the loop is over, everything disappears. It'll go back to null, or it'll go back to 0. Okay. The downside also, okay, with a for loop, I can start with the first index. I can manually skip every single index. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to just print out, if I only wanted this to run 5 times and give me every other number or whatever, okay, this is what would happen. It would allow me to do this, all right? So j plus 2, I run this. I don't know why it's giving me an error. Oh, j plus equals, sorry, okay? So boom, all right? So what it would do is give me every second number, basically, okay? Now, that's what this one would do, all right? So, but a for loop, okay, a for loop on the other hand, a for each loop, the downside is you always have to start from the beginning. Now, can you manipulate it using an if statement, saying if z is something like, manipulate it so it just does every odd one? Yes, you can, but it will always cycle. So for example, this loop up here is only going to cycle 5 times. This loop will cycle 10 times. Okay, there's no getting out of it. Okay, now do you have to print out everything? No, that's where you can use if statements and manipulate it to make it seem like it's running that. But that's the downside. It always starts from the beginning and cycles to the end. Okay, the good thing is, though, is as you can see, is it's very quick. Okay, so my quiz. Okay, so let's say, for example, here's the quiz that we had, right? So let's do an array of quiz objects. Okay, so let's say I do quiz x equals new quiz. And instead of 10, I'm just going to do 5 objects real quick. Okay. So there we go. So I've got my array, quiz array x equals new quiz. All right. Yeah, that's fine. It should be in the same class. All right. I don't know. Quiz source default package. Oops. Okay. Here we go. All right. So let's do it here. All right, so let's say that I do this. Quiz array x equals new quiz 5. So if you see this, okay, I've made an array of 5 quiz objects. Right now they're set to null. So I have to use a for each loop to finish initializing them. If I look at the constructor, okay, it just needs a name. So all I do is for int j equals 0. J is less than x.length j plus plus. And again, what I told you guys, use the constructor x index j equals new quiz. And in parentheses, I'm just going to put a literal. Okay. So every one of them is going to be John. Okay. Are we good there? Does everybody understand what I did there? Okay. So right now, if I run this, now take a look. This has a toString. Okay, so what does that mean? So let's go here. Let's make a for each loop for this. So I'd say for, what type of array have I created? An array that creates quiz objects. So I'm going to say quiz p colon, what's the name of my array that I'm cycling through?
X.
X. Okay, now I can just say sys out p. John, name John, name John, name John, name John, name John. Okay. If I wanted to, P, so for example, P has a set name. Okay. P dot set. Notice how the set name is there. Okay. Basically, P has taken over for X index something, X index this, X index this. Because it starts from the beginning, okay, P will start with the first one. Notice there's no incrementation. It's just going to start occupying the first object, then the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, so that is how the enhanced for loop is used. Okay, now some of you are going to really like the enhanced for loop. It's really easy. The syntax is a lot easier. The problem that I always run into is there's always 1 or 2 students that forgets that this is not used to initialize. Okay, you guys understand that? It's not used to initialize. It's just used specifically to read only. All right. Okay. So anybody have any questions? All right. Now, again, so on Tuesday, more than likely what I'll probably do Monday night, even because I'm going to review this on Monday, is Tuesday night. I'm going to cut you guys some slack. I'm not going to give you guys any homework. And please don't do any array list questions or anything like that. But more than likely what I will do is I will give you a quiz Tuesday on for each loops. Okay. So as soon as I have this video up, you can either come to the review session Monday night, which I'll hold probably at about 7:30, or vice versa, or you can just come and just re-review it on Monday night. Okay. So you can watch the video or re-review it. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? We got the time, guys. Seriously. Anybody questions?
Wait, I had a question about like the dummy variable.
Okay. What's up?
So if it just, so like for like variable z, you just set it to x, right? And it just meant like x0 through x9, right?
So for example, take a look at this quiz, right? You can still see how it says quiz right here, right? So for example, so technically the value of every quiz object is x index 0, x index 1, x index 2. In this case, I named my dummy object P. So P is now occupying, P is x index 0 all the way to x index 4.
So I guess my question is like, why are we using P? I guess is like my question.
Because it's a quicker, because it's what we call a verification array. So people will expect this on, you're required to use this on the AP. So for example, you will have an array that is passed, that is already created, and they may just want you to print something out. They're not going to look for this type of a loop. They're going to look for this type of a loop. That would be an efficiency question.
Oh, so you're saying I wouldn't need to use the first loop? I could just do that and use P.
If the arrays are, so for example, let's say I give you a quiz question saying, hey, the array is already created and already has values. Show me, just write a verification loop that and printing out all the names.
Oh, I could just do for quiz, whatever. Oh, okay. Oh, that's so much easier.
And if you take a look at if you take a look at the syntax, a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 lines. Yeah. Okay.
Theoretically, you could just add a print statement here. But what this does is you've got another loop that's going through and cycling and just making sure that you've hit every index value.
Okay, I see. So it's more efficient too. Right?
Exactly. In a way, because again, the downside, the for loop is a little more powerful in the while loop because you can start from any number, you can fill every third index and stuff like that, and it initializes. A for each loop is basically just a read only, and I start from the beginning and go to the end.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, as you guys can see, easy topics. Hopefully I'm explaining it to you guys well enough. I feel like I am. I feel like I'm breaking this down really well. We're gonna go back to objects again. Objects are the bread and butter of the exam, but it's also the bread and butter of programming. And object instantiation, as the guy said yesterday, carries over into the thought process of advanced programming languages like Python, et cetera, et cetera. So that being said, your test, again, there's a possibility I'm probably going to give you 2 free response questions. Okay. Your test will be only 2 free response questions. Okay.
Oh, wait, I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Uma, then Thanos.
Okay. So you, just to clarify, quiz is an object variable, right? Like not quiz, but P.
Exactly. So
like
quiz is an object. Quiz is a class. So quiz is a class. Quiz is a class that is in the same package that I can create objects out of. So what I did.
So P would be an object variable.
It's an object, yes. Yeah. So you can have
okay.
Arrays can hold objects or primitives. Remember that.
Okay.
Thanos.
In the test, are we gonna have to make both classes or just how?
No, I will. So giving you guys a heads up. So listen to this clearly because I'm not going to put this on the directions. You will be, for the most part, like on certain quizzes, or I may ask you what goes in a tester class and stuff like that. Or if you notice, like the last quiz, I asked you to deconstruct it. Okay. because that's important to know. Those of you who had me last year, if you guys remember, you learned HTML, but your test was look at the website, deconstruct that, because I feel it's important for you guys to have an understanding of what goes on in the back end. Other teachers don't do that. Okay. So what I'm going to have you do is, you're more than likely, even on the AP, you'll never be asked to write the tester class. I do my best to, at least when we're testing or getting closer to the exam, to mimic what would be asked on the exam. Does that make sense? So I will never ask you to write a tester class for the most part. Okay. Everything will just be write this class, or I'll give you a method signature like they do on the AP and say, fill out this method. Okay. All right. Okay. The key thing I need you guys to have an understanding of is that objects can be anything. Objects can be anything. Understood? Okay. So that being said, anybody have any questions for me? Good class today, guys. I know Friday, getting through it, rough class and stuff like that, but look at the bright side. I am the last thing you're going to see for Sierra Canyon for this weekend. So you should go home with a smile on your face. Ian, I see it. Ian. Okay. So, all right, guys, have a great day. Alex, what was that? Just kidding. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend. I will see all of you later. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.